Hope you're all doing good and enjoyed seeing Manchester United given a lesson in humility and whatnot in their first Premier League game of the season, where Graham Potter, guided the Seagulls to a memorable 2-1 victory. Brighton beating United has become something of a recurring theme these days. Erik and Haag had an absolute midfield partnership as his best option, so the Dutch Gandhi had no other choice than starting out with McFred, who are as useless as a white crayon on white paper. It was entertaining to watch Manchester United play like a bunch of idiots, amateurs. Right at the start, Diogo, I do well in preseason Dalot, almost gifted the visitors a goal, but Brighton never needed help like that, did they? Anyway, the biggest story ahead of the game was the fact that Erik ten Hag benched Cristiano Ronaldo and chose to start Christian Eriksen as a false nine. Clearly a move to Old Trafford had scrambled the Dutch tactician's eggs. And with Ronaldo on the bench alongside Raphael Varane, he must have wondered why he even chose to pick England as his next destination. Anyway, we're talking too much, because today we need to talk about some of Ronaldo's most savage moments. Before we get started, we want to share the sponsor of today's video. The OneFootball app is the ultimate football platform and is a must-have for every football fan, so that you can follow all of your favourite leagues, teams and players all the time right from your phone. You can be sure to turn on notifications for specific players to be instantly alerted when they score a goal or when they're involved in other breaking news. It is the best and easiest way to stay up to date with everything football. Click the link in the description down below to download the app right now. You won't regret it. A few years ago, Barcelona legend Xavi Hernandez admitted that Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the greatest players of all time, but his problem is that he's living in the era of Lionel Messi, so there's no comparison as to who's better. While CR7 wasn't going to go quietly into the night. The legendary forward said that Xavi is no longer relevant and that he's playing in Qatar, so he has no longer any idea what he's talking about. In fact, the former Real Madrid star also pointed out that although Xavi has won everything, he has never won a Ballon d'Or. Well, to be fair, all these legendary players are biased. Whether it's in England or Spain or Italy, they just can't seem to admit that there could be some sort of greatness in a player who represented the club that they hate on principle. Once upon a time, there was a player who represented Barcelona with great distinction. He was quite an amazing fullback, the best of his time we dare say. However, one thing he was not good at was making judgments on people. In one of the many Ballon d'Or ceremonies that Ronaldo attended or headlined, he allegedly had a scuffle with Dani Alves, who called him egotistical. In fact, Ronaldo called out the Brazilian for his remarks. Later on, when a reporter asked about the incident, the forward said that he will never talk about Alves in any of his interviews because he doesn't believe in giving free promotion. Ronaldo even took the higher moral ground by calling Alves a colleague and said that he will never talk bad about a colleague and will definitely not discuss them in front of the public. And when the reporter asked if Ronaldo is growing tired of PK and Alves talking about him, the Portugal international said that it's quite normal for him because talking about Ronaldo makes all the headlines. Ronaldo 2, Barcelona 0. During an FA Cup game against Middlesbrough back in 2007, Ronaldo won a highly debatable penalty. Back in those days, Ronaldo was a completely different player from what he is today. He was a winger who would take on defenders and bamboozle them with his trickery and pace. So back to the spot kick. The younger Ronaldo took his famous stop-move penalty, which he obviously converted without any fuss. The away team's supporters were jeering and shouting and calling him all those things which we can't say here, and after scoring, he looked at the stand and gestured them to keep talking. Following the game, Ronaldo addressed the boos and jeers from the Borough fans by saying that they hate him because he's too good. We can't even argue with that. While he was still at United, Ronaldo wasn't as consistent as he has been for the last 10 years. Of course, he was very young back then and had a different role under Sir Alex Ferguson, but due to his quality, people expected him to score a goal every minute. However, at the start of his career at Real Madrid, Ronaldo was struggling to score away from home, and ahead of a Champions League game against AS Roma, a reporter asked the player about his poor goal-scoring form when playing away from the Bernabeu. To this, Ronaldo asked the reporter if we can name one player who has scored more away goals than him ever since he arrived in Spain. The next day, Ronaldo scored an absolute banger against the Italians. Lesson from this is that you don't poke a bear when he's having a nap. During a game against Arsenal, who were United's greatest foes at that time, Ronaldo was being whistled and booed by the fans who thought it would drain his confidence. Throughout that encounter, Ronaldo was roughhoused by Arsenal players. Most players would simply give up and wait to be called back to the bench. Ronaldo was 19 at that time, but even then, he had a set of balls too huge to fit inside Highbury. He ended up scoring 2 goals in that game and silenced the home fans, and both times he celebrated by asking the Arsenal fans to shut their mouths. So, these are some of the most savage moments in Ronaldo's career. Of course, his career is littered with such moments, so why don't you sound off in the comments and tell us about your favourite Ronaldo moments.